My name is Nina and I'm 30 years old. I watched them drive away thinking they'd won. They dumped 3 crying children and a dog on my doorstep, ignored my protests and headed for the airport. "Your family, you'll cope!" Sarah had shouted out the car window. They thought I'd buckle. They thought I'd take the kids inside and unpack their bags. Instead, I waited until their car turned the corner. Then I picked up my phone and called their father-in-law. "Come and collect your grandkids," I said. "I'm leaving in 10 minutes. "Hey friend, it's time to relax. Have you checked your blood sugar yet? Don't let a dizzy spell mess with your evening. Go on, have a little snack, and let's get into this story. I'm a freelance accountant. I work from home, mostly for small businesses and a few self-employed clients. On paper, it's pretty ordinary. In my family's head, it means I sit about in my pajamas doing nothing. It's been like that for the past 2 or 3 years, ever since I left my office job and started working for myself. The minute I stopped commuting, they decided my time didn't count. I'm the youngest of 3. Sarah's 37. She's got 2 kids, Charlie and Maisie, 9 and 10. Emma's 33, and she's got her little boy, Alfie, who's 7. They're both married, both settled into that tidy suburban rhythm. School runs, clubs, birthday parties, packed calendars, and a sort of smug exhaustion they wear like a badge. Me, single, no kids, and apparently that means I'm the family's backup childcare plan. Dad's the worst for it. He'll sit there with that look on his face like he's trying to solve a puzzle, and then say, "I still don't get this working from home lark." Last month he actually told me, "A real job is leaving the house at 8 and coming back at 6. That's how it should be." I tried, honestly. I told him I earn good money. I told him my clients rely on me. I told him I've got deadlines, meetings and tax returns that don't file themselves. He nodded like I'd told him a cute story about a hobby. Nobody really listens to me in this family. They never have. Being the youngest always meant I got what was left over. Sarah's old clothes, already out of fashion by the time they reached me. Emma's old phone whenever she upgraded her contract. First, those ancient little button mobiles, then the battered smartphones that barely held a charge. When I was 16, I got a Saturday job in a local shop just so I could buy something new that had never belonged to anyone else. I remember standing there with my first proper wages, feeling like I'd finally got a bit of my own life. I lasted about a week before Mum said, "You'll need to give us half." I stared at her. "Half of what?" "Half your wages," she said, like it was obvious. "Sarah needs help with the wedding." Sarah was 7 years older than me. She had a job, a partner, plans, and I was handing over half my minimum wage wages to fund the family celebration. I did it anyway, because that's what you do in families like mine. You swallow it. You tell yourself it's normal. You learn early that saying no only makes everything worse. Except I'd hit 30 and nothing had changed. Every weekend there was some excuse. Emma wanted a night out with her husband. Sarah needed a break. The kids really wanted to see Auntie Nina, and somehow it always landed on me. "It's just the weekend," Emma would say, cheerful as anything. "They love being with you." They do love me. They're good kids. But they're kids. They're noisy. They want snacks every 2 minutes. They want games. They want you to watch them do a cartwheel, then watch again, then watch properly because you blinked. And I'm trying to work. My flat is small. It's 1 bedroom and a little nook that I've turned into an office. When the kids stay over, my bed becomes their bed, because nobody wants to hear a child complain about a blow-up mattress. So I end up sleeping on the blow-up mattress in my office, surrounded by files and a printer, and the sense that my life is being folded away into a corner. I love my niece and nephews, I do, but I'm not their parent. I didn't choose this. Yet every time my sisters want a break from the lives they built, I'm the one expected to pick up the slack. The worst bit is the way Mum and Dad talk about it. Sarah and Emma are treated like saints. They work so hard. They've got so much on. You should be grateful they trust you. Trust me, it isn't trust, it's convenience. Free childcare is free childcare. That's why Christmas mattered. For once, I had plans that didn't include my family. My friends Katie, Jenny and Mark had booked a ski week in the French Alps. We'd been talking about it for months, properly planning it, putting money aside, choosing dates. I'd taken on extra work so I could clear everything before I went. I'd bought gear I'd never owned in my life. A ski jacket, proper boots, thermals, the lot. Things that were just for me. It felt ridiculous how good it felt to buy something without having to justify it. The only thing I hadn't done was tell my family, because I knew exactly what would happen. They'd pull faces, they'd ask why I needed a holiday, they'd say, "But you work from home." Like that meant I was never allowed to leave. Still, I told myself, this year will be different. This year I'll say it calmly, like an adult, and they'll have to accept it. Christmas Eve came. In our family, that's when we do the big meal at Mum and Dad's. I drove over with a boot full of presents, feeling oddly hopeful, like I was turning up with proof that I belonged. When I arrived, the house was quiet. Mum was fiddling with the tree, and Dad was watching something on telly. "Where is everyone?" I asked. Mum didn't even look up. "Oh, you know your sisters, they'll be here." "They'll be here" turned into 3 hours. Sarah arrived first with Tom and the kids, all coats and carrier bags, and that rush of noise as soon as they stepped inside. Then Emma turned up with David and Alfie. The kids were off instantly, charging round the living room, laughing and shouting, and suddenly the whole house revolved around them. Eventually we sat down for dinner. The conversation was the usual. Sarah moaning about someone at work, Emma talking about the school WhatsApp group and clubs and who'd forgotten which kit, Tom and David comparing football fixtures, Mum asking about everyone's plans as if she hadn't already decided them. I sat there, pushing food around my plate, waiting for a gap that never came. Then Sarah said, without looking up from her phone, "So, Nina, how's your little spreadsheet thing going?" That's what she calls my work, a spreadsheet thing. "It's going well," I said, keeping my voice steady. I took a breath. Actually, I wanted to tell you lot something about my holiday plans. And that was the moment Sarah looked up with a grin so wide it made my stomach tighten before she even spoke. "Oh, perfect timing," she said, loud and bright. "We're all off to Barbados tomorrow morning, early flight on Christmas Day." Everyone lit up like she'd announced free money. Mum clapped her hands, Dad grinned. Emma squealed and started talking about swimming and sun cream and how lovely it would be to get away. They all knew. Everyone knew except me. Sarah leaned back like a queen. Tom and I, Emma and David, Mum and Dad. A full week. Flights booked, hotel paid for. It's going to be amazing. My mouth went dry. "What about the kids?" I heard myself say. Sarah waved it off. "Oh, we're dropping them at yours tomorrow morning before we head to the airport. You don't mind, do you? It's just a week." Just a week. A week with 3 kids in my 1-bed flat, in the exact week I was meant to be flying out for my ski trip. I stared at her. "You didn't ask me." Sarah actually laughed. "Ask you? Nina, don't be daft. You're always around. You work from home." Always around. Because in their heads, my life is just a blank space, an empty calendar waiting for them to fill. I looked at Mum and Dad, hoping, stupidly, that one of them might step in. Mum was nodding like this was sensible. Dad was chewing, not even looking at me. Emma was already listing what she needed to pack. Nobody cared if I had plans. Nobody cared if I was available. It was all decided. I put my fork down. "No," I said. The words sat there in the middle of the table, like something you weren't meant to say out loud. Everything went quiet. You could still hear the kids in the other room shrieking with laughter, completely unaware that the adults were about to have a proper row. Mum blinked at me. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean no," I said. "I'm not looking after them next week." Sarah's smile fell off her face like a mask. "Nina, don't be ridiculous. We've booked everything." "That's your problem," I said, and even I was surprised by how calm it sounded. "You should have asked me first." Emma leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Nina, what else have you got on? You work from home." There it was again, like it answered everything, like it erased me. "I have arrangements," I said. Dad finally looked up. "What arrangements? You never go anywhere." The judgment in his voice made my cheeks burn. In their heads, I was the sad sister who sat at home pretending to work. "I've got my own plans for Christmas," I said, "and they don't involve childcare." Sarah's hand slapped the table so hard that the glasses rattled. "This is unbelievable. Do you realise you could ruin our whole holiday?" I stared at her. "You're saying I'm ruining it because you made plans without me and assumed I'd fix it." "Because you're family," Mum snapped. "Family helps each other." I felt something in me go cold. "When have you ever helped me?" I said. Emma's voice went wobbly. "We have helped you." "When?" I said, and my voice rose despite myself. "When I needed help moving into my flat? When I was stressed setting up my business? When I was falling apart after my breakup with Jamie and I needed someone to talk to? You were all too busy." Dad's face hardened. "You're being selfish. Your sisters deserve a break." "And I don't," I said. "I don't work hard. I don't deserve a holiday. It's not the same, he said, and he didn't even try to soften it. They've got families. So because I don't have kids, I don't count. My time isn't worth anything. Emma's eyes filled. Nina, please, we need this trip. The kids love staying with you. They love it because they get away with murder while I'm trying to work, I said, and I could hear the edge in my own voice. Do you know how many times I've had to redo things because Alfie spilled juice all over my keyboard, or because they were shouting so loudly I couldn't hear a client on the phone? Sarah scoffed. They're children. Exactly, I said. They're your children, not mine. Nobody said a word, heavy, expectant, like everyone was waiting for me to back down and apologise for making it awkward. Sarah's voice went quiet, sharp. I can't believe you're doing this, after everything we've done for you. What have you done for me, I said. Tell me one thing. Nobody spoke. So I said it for them, because apparently I always have to. You passed your old clothes down to me until I was basically an adult. You took half my wages when I was 16 to pay for Sarah's wedding. You dismiss my job, my life, everything I say, and you treat me like a free childcare service. Mum's face went red. We raised you, we fed you, we clothed you. That's called being parents, I said. That's the bare minimum. Sarah pushed her chair back. Fine. If that's how you feel, maybe you shouldn't bother coming to family things anymore. For a second I felt the old panic, the fear of being shut out. Then something steadied inside me. Maybe I shouldn't, I said. Mum gave me that warning look. Nina, don't say things you'll regret. I'm not, I said. I'm saying I'm done being treated like hired help. Dad's mouth tightened. That's not true. But he couldn't look at me. When was the last time anyone asked me how I am, I said. Properly asked. When was the last time you cared about something I did that wasn't useful to you? Emma was crying openly now. You're ruining Christmas. I'm not, I said. I'm just not doing what you want for once. Sarah shook her head. We're not asking for much. It's 1 week. 1 week that I've already got plans for, I said. Mum slammed her hand down. What plans? Tell us what's so important you can't help your family. I looked at them all and realised it didn't matter. It could have been anything. A trip, work, sitting on my sofa eating crisps. They didn't think I was allowed to choose. It doesn't matter what my plans are, I said. The point is, I have them, and you didn't even ask. Sarah's eyes narrowed. So that's it? You're going to throw a strop and ruin our holiday? A strop. That's what my entire life had been reduced to. A tantrum, because I'd said no. I stood up and picked up my bag. Dad's voice snapped. Sit down, we're not finished. Yes, we are, I said. Mum stood as well, face tight with fury. If you walk out that door, don't expect us to welcome you back. Good, I said, and my voice didn't shake. Because I'm tired of being welcomed only when you need something. I walked out. I got in my car and drove home, hands gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles hurt. By the time I pulled up outside my building, my phone was buzzing non-stop. I didn't look at it straight away. I just sat on my sofa in the quiet, heart still thudding, half expecting to feel guilt swallow me whole. But underneath the shock there was a small, steady relief. Eventually I checked my messages. Mum, your behaviour tonight was unacceptable. Call me back immediately. Dad, Nina, you were selfish. This isn't like you. Your mum's really upset. Sarah, I can't believe you did this. You're ungrateful. You've ruined everything. Emma, I've been crying for an hour. How could you be so nasty? Not one apology, not one we should have asked. Just anger that their plan had hit a wall. I put my phone on silent and ate leftover pizza out of the fridge. It was my pathetic little Christmas Eve dinner, alone in my flat while my family probably sat together deciding I was the villain. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel terrible about disappointing them. I woke up early on Christmas morning. My ski clothes were laid out, my bag packed. I'd worked too hard for this week to let them take it off me. Before I left, I wrote a note on plain paper. I didn't want any misunderstanding, not this time. I wrote, I told you I wasn't available to look after the kids this week. I'm away on a ski holiday with my friends until next Sunday. I'm tired of being treated like your reliable childcare and free help whenever you feel like it. I'm done being made to feel like my life doesn't matter. From today, I'm cutting off contact. I taped it to my front door and left. Katie, Jenny and Mark were meeting at the airport. When I spotted them, all bundled up with their own bags, Katie looked me up and down and said, You look different. Good different, Jenny added. I finally told them no, I said. Mark gave a short laugh. About time. They've been walking all over you for years. We flew out, and somewhere over the clouds, with my phone still on silent, I felt something unclench in my chest. When I got to the resort and checked in, I turned my phone back on. It went mad. 50-odd missed calls, messages from Mum, Dad, Sarah, Emma, and even Tom and David. Sarah: "We can't believe you actually left. Barbados is ruined because of you." Emma: "Come home now. Alfie keeps asking for you." Mum: "Get back here this instant. You've destroyed Christmas." Dad: "The kids were outside your door crying. They don't understand why you've abandoned them. You should be ashamed." For a moment, guilt punched me right in the stomach. The image of the kids standing outside my door made my throat tighten. Then the truth landed just as hard. They brought them anyway. Even after I said no. Even after I walked out. They still packed up all 3 kids and turned up at my flat like I was guaranteed to fold. Like my words didn't count until they'd tested them. I scrolled through everything. Anger, demands, guilt. Not a single sorry. Not one person acknowledging they might have been out of order. So I did the only thing that gave me peace. I blocked them. All of them. And for the first time in years, I had a full week where nobody could reach into my life and rearrange it. We skied every day. We ate in the evenings, laughed, talked about anything except family. I didn't have to wipe noses or referee arguments or feel guilty for wanting quiet. I slept properly. I breathed properly. It was the best holiday I'd ever had. When I got back the following Sunday, the man on reception in my building nodded as I came in. "Evening, Nina," he said. "Your parents have been here a few times this week, asking if you'd come back." I felt a flicker of something, then nodded. "Right, thanks." Up at my door, the note was gone. They'd definitely seen it. I felt bad for about 5 minutes, thinking about them missing their trip. Then I reminded myself, they're the children's grandparents. Looking after their own grandkids for a week shouldn't have been some dramatic emergency. It should have been normal. 2 days after New Year, I heard voices in the corridor outside my flat, familiar ones. I looked through the peephole and saw Mum, Dad, Sarah and Emma all standing there like a committee. My stomach tightened, but I took a breath and opened the door. Mum was clutching my note in her hand, waving it like evidence. "How could you do this to us?" she shouted, before I'd even said hello. "You made us look terrible." Sarah cut in. "Mum and Dad had to cancel. We lost a few grand. Do you have any idea?" Emma was already crying. "The kids kept asking where you were. How could you hurt them like that?" They all talked over each other, calling me selfish, ungrateful, arrogant. Arrogant came up again and again, like wanting control of my own life was some sort of personal insult. I didn't interrupt. I just stood in my doorway and let them get it out. When they finally paused, breathless and furious, I said calmly, "Did you read the whole note?" They blinked at me. "The last line," I said. "Did you actually read it?" Mum's hand tightened on the paper. They looked down, then up again, confusion flickering across their faces. "I wrote that I'm cutting off contact," I said. "That wasn't me being dramatic, I meant it." No one said a word. Mum's voice went smaller. "You don't mean that." "I do," I said, "because you don't treat me like family. You treat me like a convenient solution." "That's not true," Emma said quickly. "We love you." "Do you?" I asked. "When was the last time you rang just to talk? When was the last time you invited me anywhere without expecting childcare? When was the last time anyone cared about something in my life that wasn't useful?" Nobody answered, because there wasn't an answer that didn't make them look exactly like what they were. Mum started crying properly then, wiping her face with her sleeve like a child. "We're family," she said. "Family sticks together." "That's not how you treat people," I said. "Not if you actually respect them." Dad frowned, stubborn as ever. "Maybe we've made mistakes, but you're overreacting." Overreacting. I felt my hands curl into fists at my sides. I spent my childhood wearing everyone else's leftovers. I gave up half my wages at 16 for a wedding I wasn't even old enough to attend properly. I've spent the last few years having my weekends taken without being asked because you all decided my job wasn't real, and you're calling it overreacting. Sarah stepped forward, tone changing, softer, but still sharp. "All right, maybe we should have asked, but you didn't have to disappear. You scared us." "I told you where I was," I said, "and you still didn't apologise." Emma sniffed. "We thought you liked having them." "I do," I said. "Sometimes, not every weekend, not while I'm working, not as an assumption." Mum looked at me through tears. "Please, Nina, we can do better." For a second, her crying almost pulled me back into the old pattern, the part of me that always tried to fix things, Then I remembered all the times I'd cried alone in this same flat, feeling invisible, feeling like the extra person at the edge of everyone else's life. "I'm tired," I said quietly. "I'm tired of being the afterthought. I'm tired of being ignored until you want something from me." Dad's voice went desperate. "But we're your family. This is what families do." "No," I said, "this is what I do, for you, and it's never been returned." That landed. Even they couldn't argue with it. I nodded towards the lift at the end of the corridor. "I want you to leave." Mum made a sound like she was going to start again. "Nina!" "Leave," I said, "and don't come back." They stood there a moment, shocked and lost. Then slowly they turned and walked away. Mum's sobbing echoed down the corridor until the lift doors shut. After they went, I rang reception. "Hi," I said, keeping my voice steady. "If my family come in again, please don't buzz them up and don't put them through to my flat." Over the next few weeks, relatives I barely spoke to started ringing. Auntie Carol, Uncle James, Cousin Rachel, all of them with the same line. "Life's too short. You'll regret it." It's family. I didn't argue. I just ended the calls. Then my family started posting old photos online. Pictures of me as a kid. Captions about missing me, about love, about how I'd always be their baby sister. Like they couldn't message me, but they could perform grief in public. I didn't respond to any of it. My birthday came in March, and for the first time in years, I celebrated exactly how I wanted. Dinner out with Katie, Jenny and Mark. No drama, no guilt, no children running under the table, just laughter and good food and the quiet feeling of being seen. When I got home, reception handed me a parcel. Inside was an expensive handbag, flowers, and a card signed by everyone. The next morning, I booked a courier and sent it straight back to Mum and Dad's house. I didn't want guilt wrapped in ribbon. 4 months passed, 4 months of peace. No surprise messages, no dumped weekends, no being treated like my time didn't matter. I felt better in myself. I took on bigger clients. I put my rates up. I even started dating again. Not because I needed someone, but because I had room in my life for it. Then one day, an email came through from Sarah. It was long, careful, full of things she'd never bothered to say to my face. She wrote that they'd talked about Christmas over and over, that they could see now how unfair they'd been, that she was sorry, that the kids missed me, that she missed me too. I read it 3 times. For the first time, someone had actually owned it. Someone had actually apologised. I sat with it for 3 days. Part of me missed them, especially the kids. Part of me wanted to believe it could be different. But then I thought about those 4 months, about how calm my flat had been, how steady I'd felt, how much lighter life was when nobody was constantly taking from me. So I replied with a short email. "I'm not ready to make things up yet. I need time to decide what I want and what contact would look like if it happens at all. When I'm ready, I'll reach out. Please don't contact me again until then." I sent it and felt my shoulders drop, like I'd been holding my breath for years. I wasn't slamming the door forever, but I wasn't opening it just because they'd knocked. These days, I live on my own terms. I talk to friends who actually care how I am. I work with clients who respect my time. I take holidays without asking permission. I date when I feel like it. Auntie Carol eventually stopped pushing and started listening. Rachel told me she was proud of me. Do I miss my family sometimes? I do, especially the kids. But I don't miss feeling invisible. I don't miss being taken for granted. And I'm not going back to that. If you've stayed with me through all of this, I just want to say thank you, truly. What I understood in the end is that love isn't proved by how much you can endure or how often you say yes when you're tired, busy, or quietly breaking. Being family, being close, being the reliable one should never mean you're the one person who's always expected to bend. I used to think keeping the peace was the same as being kind, but it isn't, not if it costs you your voice and your dignity. Setting a boundary didn't make me cold, it made me honest. And it gave the people around me a chance to see me properly, not as a convenience, but as a whole person. If my story means anything, I hope it's this. You're allowed to matter, even when others are used to you putting yourself last.